The security guard at the Plaza Hotel in New York had no idea that the surveillance footage he was watching that rainy Friday evening contained a secret capable of destroying a $170 billion empire. On his monitor screen, among the usual flow of elite hotel guests, he spotted something that made his heart race. A woman in an elegant black coat and sunglasses was entering the elevator with a man he recognized instantly. But it wasn't Jeff Bezos. Just 3 months earlier, the whole world was gushing over Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez's lavish wedding in Maui. The $15 million ceremony was the event of the decade private beach. Flowers from 5 continents, Forbes list guests, and Hollywood stars. The media called them the perfect couple of the new millennium, him, the tech genius who changed the world of e-commerce, her, the former TV host who became his muse after his painful divorce from Mackenzie Scott. The wedding itself was like something out of a movie. Bezos had rented an entire resort for the weekend, flying in 200 of their closest friends and family on private jets. The ceremony took place at sunset on a cliff overlooking the Pacific Ocean, with Lauren walking down an aisle made of white sand imported from the Bahamas. She wore a custom Valentino gown that took 6 months to create, while Jeff looked dapper in an Armani tuxedo that cost more than most people's cars. The guest list read like a who's who of American power. Bill Gates sat next to Oprah Winfrey. Leonardo DiCaprio chatted with Warren Buffett about climate change investments. Former President Obama gave a heartfelt toast about love conquering all obstacles. The reception featured performances by Beyoncé and John Legend, with fireworks spelling out Jeff and Lauren forever in the Hawaiian sky. Lauren Sanchez always knew how to grab attention. At 54, she still had the beauty that once made her the face of Los Angeles television. Her dark hair, bright eyes, and flawless figure perfectly complemented her image as a tech mogul's wife. She masterfully played the role of the perfect companion on red carpets, charity events, and social media, where their joint photos got millions of likes. Her background was fascinating and complex. Born in Albuquerque to Mexican immigrant parents, Shed worked her way up from local news intern to helicopter pilot to entertainment correspondent. Shed been married twice before, first to NFL tight end Tony Gonzalez, then to Hollywood agent Patrick Weitzel. Both marriages had ended in divorce, with whispers about her ambitious nature and wandering eye. But behind the glittering facade were cracks that grew deeper each day. Friends who knew them before the marriage started noticing subtle changes in their dynamic. Lauren, who had initially seemed grateful for Bezos' attention and generosity, began showing signs of restlessness and dissatisfaction. Bezos' friends started noticing changes during the honeymoon. Lauren, who used to carefully control her public image, became more reckless with spending and less careful with her words. She hired a personal stylist for $50,000 a month, started taking private flights without warning her husband, and appeared more often at social events without him. The spending had become astronomical, even by billionaire standards. In their first month of marriage, Lauren had dropped $2 million on jewelry, $500,000 on clothing, and $300,000 on spa treatments and cosmetic procedures. When Bezos questioned some of the expenses, Shed become defensive and accusatory. Jeff's become way too controlling. She complained to close girlfriends during a lunch at Nobu Malibu. He wants to know where I am, who I'm talking to, what I'm spending money on. This isn't marriage, it's a prison with golden bars. He tracks my phone, has security follow me everywhere, and questions every purchase over $10,000. Her friend, socialite and reality TV star Kim Richards, later told investigators that Lauren seemed increasingly unhappy despite her luxurious lifestyle. She had everything money could buy, but she felt suffocated. Jeff would schedule her days down to the minute charity events, photo shoots, business dinners. She never had time just to breathe. Bezos, for his part, dove deeper into work. After the wedding, he launched new Blue Origin space projects, invested billions in artificial intelligence, and battled competitors in cloud technologies. His workday often lasted 16 hours, and weekends turned into business meetings across the globe. He was trying to prove to the world that marriage hadn't softened him, that he was still the ruthless businessman who'd built Amazon from nothing. The irony wasn't lost on close observers. Here was a man who'd revolutionized shopping by understanding what customers wanted, yet he seemed clueless about his own wife's needs. He showered her with expensive gifts, but rarely gave her his undivided attention. He bought her a $40 million yacht, but couldn't find time for a quiet dinner together. It all started at a charity auction at the Metropolitan Museum 3 months ago. The event, raising money for cancer research, attracted New York's elite. Lauren, stunning in an evening Versace gown that hugged her curves perfectly, caught the attention of not just photographers, but one particular man. His name was Marcus Romano, a 45-year-old investment banker of Italian descent, partner at the prestigious Goldman Sachs firm. Romano had a reputation as Wall Street's playboy. Tall, athletic, with silver hair and piercing grey eyes, he was always the center of attention at Manhattan's elite parties. His previous romances with billionaires, wives, and Hollywood actresses regularly made tabloid headlines. Had been linked to the wife of a Fortune 500 CEO, a famous pop star, and even a European princess. But Marcus wasn't just a pretty face with family money. Had earned his way to the top through brilliant deal-making and an uncanny ability to read people. He specialized in hostile takeovers and had earned the nickname The Shark for his ruthless business tactics. His net worth was estimated at $200 million, impressive by most standards, but pocket change compared to Bezos' fortune. That evening at the museum, their first glance lasted only a few seconds, but it was enough. Lauren felt something she hadn't felt in years, real attraction, passion that made her heart beat faster. She was standing next to Jeff, who was deep in conversation with museum donors about funding for a new wing, when Marcus walked by. Their eyes met across the crowded room, and she felt an electric shock run through her body. Romano, a master of seduction, instantly recognized the loneliness and craving for attention in her eyes. Had seen it before in the wives of powerful men, women who had everything money could buy, but lacked the one thing they craved most: genuine passion and excitement. He didn't approach her that night. That would have been too obvious, too risky. Instead, he made sure she noticed him talking to other beautiful women, laughing at their jokes, being charming and attentive in ways that made Lauren realize what she was missing in her own marriage. The first accidental meeting at a cafe on the Upper East Side seemed harmless. Lauren told her security she was going shopping at Bergdorf Goodman, but instead found herself at a cozy French bistro called Le Bernardin, where no paparazzi would find her. She'd been there for 10 minutes, nursing a cappuccino and scrolling through Instagram, when Marcus walked in. "What are the odds?" he said with a smile that made her stomach flutter. "The most beautiful woman in New York, sitting alone in my favorite coffee shop. You look lonely for a woman who has everything," he continued, sliding into the seat across from her without invitation. "And you look dangerous for a man who wants nothing," she replied, feeling adrenaline rush through her veins. The conversation flowed effortlessly. Marcus was everything Jeff wasn't: spontaneous, romantic, completely focused on her. He asked about her dreams, her fears, her childhood in Mexico. He listened without checking his phone, without scheduling their conversation around business calls. "Tell me," he said, leaning forward, "when was the last time someone made you feel truly alive?" Lauren couldn't answer. She realized it had been years, maybe even before Shed met Jeff. The excitement Shed felt in her early career, the thrill of flying helicopters, the rush of breaking news stories, all of it had been replaced by the comfortable but sterile routine of being a billionaire's wife. These meetings became regular. First, a few times a week, then daily. They met in different places, private clubs where Marcus had memberships, suburban restaurants where no one would recognize them, art galleries during private showings. Each location was carefully chosen to avoid detection. Lauren told Marcus about her life with Jeff, how she felt like a beautiful ornament in his collection of expensive things, how he scheduled romance like board meetings, how she missed spontaneity and passion. She described their sex life as efficient. Another item on Jeff's daily agenda, completed with the same methodical approach he brought to business deals. Romano was the perfect listener. He understood the world of the rich and powerful, having grown up in it, but also offered what she desperately needed: attention, compliments, the feeling that she was the most important person in the room. He would send her flowers with cryptic notes, leave expensive jewelry for her to find, arrange surprise encounters that made her feel like a teenager again. It happened during their fourth meeting at his Park Avenue penthouse. The 5,000-square-foot apartment was a masterpiece of modern design, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Central Park, Italian marble floors, contemporary art worth millions on the walls. Bezos was in Los Angeles, meeting with Hollywood executives about Prime Video content, and Lauren said she was spending the day at a spa in the Hamptons. Instead, she found herself in Romano's luxurious apartment, wearing a simple black dress Shed bought specifically for the occasion. Shed told her driver to drop her off at the spa, then taken an Uber into the city using a fake name and cash. Marcus had cooked dinner himself, something Jeff had never done in all their years together. Fresh pasta with truffle sauce, wine from his family's vineyard in Tuscany, candlelight reflecting off the city lights below. After the second glass of Barolo, the tension between them became unbearable. "I shouldn't be here," Lauren whispered, but didn't move from the couch where they'd been talking for hours. "Yet you are," Marcus replied, moving closer until she could smell his cologne, feel the warmth radiating from his body. "What does that say about you, or about your marriage?" "It says I'm lonely," she admitted, her voice barely audible. "It says I married a man who sees me as another acquisition instead of a woman with needs and desires." Their first kiss was unrestrained, passionate, full of months of built-up desire and forbidden longing. In that moment, Lauren forgot everything: her reputation, the consequences, even the husband who'd trusted her with his love and future. It was the first time in years Shed felt truly wanted rather than simply possessed. They made love on his couch as the sun set over Manhattan, then again in his bedroom with the city sparkling below them. Lauren felt reborn, alive in ways Shed forgotten were possible. For those few hours, she wasn't Mrs. Jeff Bezos, the perfect billionaire's wife. She was just Lauren, a woman experiencing raw passion for the first time in years. The following months, their romance developed at dangerous speed. Romano rented a private apartment at the Plaza Hotel under a shell company name Suite 1205, with a view of Fifth Avenue and all the discretion money could buy. It became their secret refuge, decorated with fresh flowers and stocked with her favorite champagne. Lauren invented increasingly complex stories for her absences. She created fake charity commitments, fictional lunch dates with girlfriends who lived in other cities, elaborate spa treatments that supposedly took all day. She even hired an actress friend to occasionally pose as her at public events when she needed an alibi. The deception required careful planning. She started carrying 2 phones, her regular one that Jeff's security team monitored, and a burner phone Marcus had given her. She memorized his schedule, knew when it was safe to call or text. She learned back routes through Manhattan hotels, how to avoid security cameras, which restaurants had private entrances. She began changing her appearance for meetings with her lover. Dark glasses, hats, different wigs, clothing styles that didn't match her usual look. Romano enjoyed this spy game. It added adrenaline to their dates and made him feel like he was winning a competition against one of the world's most powerful men. Their passion was all-consuming. They spent entire afternoons in bed, talking about dreams and fantasies they'd never shared with anyone else. Lauren told him about her childhood dreams of becoming a famous actress, her secret desire to write a book about her experiences in television, her fantasy of running away to a small Italian village where no one knew her name. Marcus shared his own secrets, how Head never felt truly loved, how his wealth had isolated him from genuine connections, how he sometimes fantasized about leaving Wall Street behind and becoming a winemaker in his family's homeland. With her, he felt he could be vulnerable in ways his professional life never allowed. They developed elaborate fantasies about their future together. Marcus would sell his stake in Goldman Sachs, Lauren would divorce Jeff, and they'd disappear to Tuscany, where they'd buy a vineyard and live simply. They'd have children, something Lauren desperately wanted but Jeff kept postponing. They'd grow old together, surrounded by olive trees and the smell of wine fermenting in ancient cellars. But even the most careful conspiracy leaves traces, and theirs was becoming harder to hide. Lauren's personal driver, a former NYPD detective named Miguel Santos, started noticing unusual patterns. Routes that didn't match her stated destinations, unexplained stops, requests to wait in strange locations. He began keeping a private log, unsure what to do with the information. Her personal assistant, Emma Chen, found inconsistencies in Lauren's schedule and expenses. Restaurant receipts from places Lauren claimed never to have visited, flower delivery confirmations to addresses that weren't her home or office, clothing purchases that never appeared in her closet. Emma was torn between loyalty to her employer and growing suspicions about what was happening. The house staff at the Bezos mansion in Medina, Washington, noticed changes too. Lauren seemed happier but more secretive. She'd receive mysterious flower deliveries with no cards, take long private phone calls in her office, disappear for hours without explanation. The head of household, Mrs. Rodriguez, had worked for wealthy families for 30 years and recognized the signs of an affair. Most dangerously, Lauren's spending patterns had changed in ways that could be tracked. She'd started using cash more frequently, opened a private credit card account, made purchases at stores and locations that didn't fit her usual routine. Every transaction left a digital footprint that could be analyzed by someone with the right tools and motivation. And the biggest mistake happened on Valentine's Day, when Lauren forgot to turn off the GPS tracking on her phone during one of their marathon sessions at the Plaza. Bezos' security system, managed by former NSA analysts, tracked all family members' locations for safety reasons and flagged any unusual patterns. When David Kumar, Bezos' head of personal security, saw that Lauren's phone had spent 4 hours at the Plaza on a day she'd claimed to be at a medical spa in Connecticut, he initially assumed it was a technical glitch. But when he cross-referenced her credit cards, he found charges at restaurants and shops near the hotel that same day. The pattern was impossible to ignore. Kumar was in an impossible position. His job was to protect the Bezos family from external threats. But what if the threat was coming from within? He spent sleepless nights debating whether to investigate further or report his suspicions to his boss. Finally, professional duty won over personal loyalty. He began a discreet investigation using resources typically reserved for corporate espionage. He tracked Lauren's movements through credit card records, analyzed her phone's metadata, even accessed traffic cameras near locations where she'd claimed to be. The evidence painted a clear picture of systematic deception. The breakthrough came when Kumar identified Marcus Romano as a frequent presence in the same locations as Lauren. Romano wasn't just anyone. He was known in financial circles as someone who specialized in hostile takeovers and had a reputation for ruthless tactics. Kumar began to wonder if this was more than just an affair. Could it be corporate espionage or extortion? He compiled a comprehensive dossier on Romano, including his business relationships, financial holdings, and romantic history. What he found alarmed him. Romano had previously been linked to the wives of other prominent businessmen, including a pharmaceutical CEO whose company later faced a hostile takeover bid from Romano's clients. That evening, Bezos ordered surveillance of the Plaza hotel to confirm his suspicions. He needed to see the truth, no matter how painful. The team used high-powered cameras and accessed the hotel's security system, capturing everything in devastating detail. Lauren arrived at 3:30 p.m., dressed in a black coat and oversized sunglasses, moving through the lobby to the elevators. 15 minutes later, Marcus Romano entered through a side entrance, heading to the same floor. The elevator camera caught their intimate embrace, her touch on his face, his whispers, her radiant smile, revealing a deep affection that showed she was in love, but not with her husband. They spent 3 hours in Suite 1205. The evidence of the affair was undeniable, but what hurt Bezos most was Lauren's genuine happiness, unseen in their marriage. At 6:45 p.m., she emerged radiant, kissing Marcus goodbye in the elevator, a moment captured in perfect detail. Today, Jeff Bezos lives quietly in his Medina, Washington estate, focusing on Blue Origin and the Bezos Earth Fund. Friends say the experience taught him about the loneliness of wealth. He's more selective about relationships, valuing those who see him as Jeff, not just a billionaire. Lauren Sanchez returned to Los Angeles, rebuilding her career in media. The $50 million settlement gave financial security, but the stigma of being labeled a gold digger lingers. In a rare interview, she said, "The most expensive mistakes cost you not money, but people you love."